Schilling, would you lead us in the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everybody need a minute to scan over the minutes from the last meeting, from the March meeting?
I have changed, I think Christie may have already updated, that when you turn the first page over under the financial at the top, that vote was 5-1 and not 6-6.
It's she's exited out on the line and put 5-1. Everybody else have an extra out 5-1?
No, I'm good. I do have another correction to over on the next tournament. Back. Agreement is in place for the next 5 years, setting the price at $2.25.
That's fixed also.
Yeah,
I
it'll be $2.25.
I said,
I know, big difference.
yeah, I kind of told him about that one.
I do want to compliment the new layout. It's much easier to read.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I was gonna ask if you wanted me to continue.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I could. Anybody else have anything else? Entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Bill makes a motion to approve the minutes. Any seconds? Any other discussion or corrections? All those in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Okay. Don Schilling, tip report.
Good morning. I'll go through the handout I gave you briefly, and then if you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer. Second page of the handout is just a list of all of our redevelopment commission members. The third page is the Honda Economic Development Area was established in 2006, and it's there for 30 years, so it runs out in 2036. Development. And then on the next page, it's down to the money. In 2024, total income off of the excess taxes was 4.6, or off of the excess taxes was 4.6 million. 3.3 that was spent, and you see down below the additional where that was expense. We'll talk a little bit about construction where it says infrastructure, 768,000. 600,000 that was paid for the Adams County Fire Department building, and then also the other item, the other major item was final payment on the highway garage, 164,000 there for that. And then just a minor payout for the Decatur County Parks and Rec for the beginning of the for the ball money. And then you see next item is capital outlays went to the Decatur County Community Schools. We are allowed to, state legislature a couple of years ago changed it. We're up to 15% of our income can be used to help fund some school items. We did fund that in 2024. And then it shows the principal payment and the interest payment on the $22 million of bonds that were issued originally to help pay for the infrastructure to serve the Honda. Any questions on any of those? Okay, it's not, the next page is just the county schools. The Page after that shows all the balances in our accounts, our various accounts. The bond construction amount, that's where the money goes into the pay, and it's paid, the bond can get paid out of it. And the excess revenue account is where the redevelopment commission keeps the money that we can use. Project account underneath of that is just a leftover amount from the original project for design back in 2000. There's still a little bit of money left in the account. And then the last one, the very last one is the administrative account that is held here. Well, that helps attorney's fees and some consulting. Any questions on any of that?
When Decatur County Community Schools receive their funding, Greensburg Community Schools, other school systems can apply for those funds, or is it strictly?
No, we've also in years past helped Greensburg school systems also.
And it just requires like a grant request to the tip
Yeah.
board, and then you address it.
Yeah, and we address it. So we've helped the city schools, both the city schools and the county schools.
Anybody have any questions for Don?
So what's left? How much is in the TIF account?
Right now, we have about 3.5 million. And then there are still some projects we've already approved for this year. For example, finishing up the ball diamonds and also paving Michigan Road out by Honda.
That's got to come out of that.
That's gonna come out of that also. And then we've also made a commitment to help fund the emergency management storage building. Whenever that happens. So we've already made a commitment to them too.
The road paving in front
Basically,
of
it's in the city.
from the new stoplight to the paying half, city's paying.
Yeah, but then we're paying for
You know what that is?
What was it, Don, 800, 900,000?
$875,000 was what we agreed to fund on that.
Up to not to exceed. Anybody else have any questions, concerns? I'll commend Don. When Don's
Thanks for all your.
off that committee, I got news for you. We're gonna have to have somebody try. Because Don does a great job keeping all these numbers together and knowing what's going on. I commend him a whole lot. He does a great job. Wonderful job. And I'll pass the letter around. We have a meeting tomorrow night at 5:30, and there'll be a presentation from, it's coming from Matt. Is Matt Eck really coming, or who's?
Yeah, Matt, somebody from Baker Tilly will be
Baker Tilly.
there. I don't know for sure where it'd be Matt or Sam. I don't know for sure which one.
Good. And it'll be more of a presentation of what you got there. It will be the whole thing. Thank you, Don. Hey, Jeremy.
All right, good morning. The edit plan is not ready yet as this spoke, but I also wanted to come in today to talk with you. I've emailed you all over the last month about the maintenance position and the salary for that position. So the council and the commissioners had previously agreed that the maintenance supervisor position salary would be $50,000. That's what was appropriated for 2025. The commissioners have conducted interviews, 3 separate interviews, and I have sent all of you guys the summaries from those interviews. Each one of the candidates indicated that they needed a salary that was higher than $50,000. We have already voted on which candidate we want to offer the job to. I have talked to that candidate, and they indicated that they would like a salary of $60,000. So we would need an additional $10,000 above the appropriated 50. So as we sit here now, a third of the way through 2025, we still have $50,000 that have been unspent. That's in the appropriated budget. So our salary portion of this is already covered for 2025. When you look at the balance of FICA through the first quarter of 2025, so far we have an unexpended balance of $63,397.40. That means that through the first quarter of the year, we have 83% of the FICA appropriations already left. So we have money to cover the FICA portion for the maintenance position. The FICA increase for this it's going to be a total cost of $60,000 salary of $4,600. So we have more than enough money in the FICA as well. When I look at the PERF account for the additional benefit there, we're looking at it looks like it's roughly 5% under appropriated at this point. So there is a small issue that will have to be dealt with on the PERF side of things, regardless of this position. It looks like right now, as far as the expended portions or of the appropriations, that we are currently over budget for the PERF side of the account, regardless of this position. So when I'm coming to you asking this, and we discussed this at our last commissioners meeting, the reason that we're looking for the increase is because we're wanting to be proactive with our maintenance of the courthouse, of the annex. We are currently reactive. We can only do things right now when something breaks. I get a call or an email from Patty or from a department head that says, hey, this isn't working. And so then the process is, it falls on Patty or one of us that we have to find somebody that specializes in that area or can do that work. Then we have to get on their calendar. We are then subject to how busy they are. And so we're waiting months to get simple things like plaster and painting done in the courthouse. Those are things that this maintenance guy can do. And those were the discussions that we had last year when we made this proposal to the council for the maintenance position. We're going to be able to understand the true conditions of not only the courthouse, but also the annex. I'm sure, as all of you have seen when you walk by the annex, there are some issues out there. So we're going to be able to have a better grasp of what it is that we need to do on the government buildings better than what we have now. Because again, right now we are reactive to when there's an issue, when there's a leak, or when there's something else going on. This will be able to save us money in the long run when we're maybe catching a problem up front and we aren't actually having to incur a bigger expense just because that large problem happened. And so I think that there are some major benefits there. Additionally, when we're looking at the maintenance position, they're going to be the point of contact. They're going to be the person that can do all of the scheduling. They can be the ones that reach out to all of the different contractors to schedule this, because right now we have so much on Patty's plate. We're asking her to do 2 separate jobs. We're asking her to do the HR for the county, and we're also asking her basically to be the maintenance supervisor. And so that would be able to free her up to actually do more of the HR stuff, and how we also coordinate and be available at the times that are best for all of these other contractors that are coming in. I mean, I'm sure, Kenny, you know how far out you are for the work that you do. It's the same way with every other contractor that we're having to have come in here just to do your basics, electrical, a plumbing issue, or a painting. And so from the summaries that I sent to you guys about the qualifications, the candidate that we'd selected has strong technology skills, so they'll be able to be a point of contact for the employees. We're going to have them set up so that they can get emails, so that they can actually be in contact with department heads. They have good working knowledge of electrical and plumbing, and so they can repair, they can install. There are still going to be things that we're going to have to call a contractor for. That's what I told you guys last year. There are things that we're not going to be able to find somebody that can do everything that we need, but they're going to be able to do a lot. And I think that we're going to find they're incredibly busy with maintaining all of our facilities here. So I think that when you look at what they can bring here and the qualifications that they have, the net benefit long-term for the county definitely warrants a salary here. The discussion that we had at the last commissioners meeting was, is the juice worth the squeeze at this salary? And I think long-term, when you look at preventative maintenance and actually having a working knowledge of where things are in the county, maintaining records so that we can actually get in front of licensing or certification requirements for the state, having that done ahead of time, I think is crucial. Yes, sir.
I guess my concern is how much of this small work will this maintenance person be able to do, like plumbing and electrical and painting and things like that? Is he going to be calling somebody in to do all this work, or is he going to do a certain percent of this himself? Or?
Yeah, the intention is that a lot of that smaller stuff is done by the maintenance supervisor.
Well, I think that's important because, if you got somebody just going to call somebody to do everything, well, I can't justify that salary, but I think it'll save some money on the short end. Why?
Yeah, and last year when I presented to you guys, I had gone through and looked at the expenses that we had for those kinds of repairs last year, and I think it was roughly $30,000 or $40,000. And that's just on the basics. That is again your reactive repairs, your reactive maintenance. That's nothing that we're actually looking at proactively, which again is why we have some of the larger bills with repairs. It's because we only know something's wrong when it breaks or when it leaks, and that's causing additional issues.
This guy can't plumb.
Yes. Yeah. And I unfortunately was not at the interview because I had the flu, but Brian and Gabe were there, and he has good electrical and plumbing skills. Is that right, Brian?
That's correct.
Does he have his own tools? We supply the tools, or how does that set up?
I'm sure he does. There will be things that the county will have to buy.
That was the discussion we had.
Yeah.
We would have to supply some necessary tools.
What about vehicle?
We have one of the old sheriff's department vehicles, and so he will have that.
Does it run?
I think.
It runs well for 120,000 miles.
Yeah, it's currently available.
One of this candidate's strong suits is technology,
Yeah.
and he's really strong in that area. And we're looking at cameras and those kind of things. That is his really strong suit, but he also is well-rounded.
Which we have IT.
We do, but there are times where
Fourth person.
with Patty, when we're talking about cameras and things like that set up, that it takes forever to get things done. And anyway, repair, maintenance, those kind of things, really strong suit.
What are we doing over the grass mowing?
So right now we bid out the courthouse, and so for this year we're going to have someone mow the courthouse grounds. We hired Jake Bauer to mow the highway department and the annex since he was already mowing out at the fairgrounds. He's going to use that mower and the equipment that we have for the fairgrounds, both at the fairgrounds and then also the highway department and the annex.
Okay.
And so we're paying him the same rate that we would have been paying him on just the fairgrounds. And we're saving a tremendous amount of money doing that by not contracting that out.
Who's going to be overseeing, we were talking about making sure that he can do the small things. He's going to be watching to see if that's actually what's happening.
He would be under the commissioner.
Well, the only thing I've got is it's a little bit more than the base pay for a sheriff's deputy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little over 5,000 more than the maintenance guy at the jail.
I understand.
And it's a whole lot more money than we're paying our building inspector.
Yep. I understand that.
I hate, and the sheriff gave concessions to get his sheriff's deputies up to close to that. See,
yep.
You understand where?
Oh, I absolutely
That's
understand.
That's my only.
Yep.
I mean, I want to see a maintenance guy, but sure he can make everybody else upset.
Also, I can remember that. We'll be taking care of two facilities too, the annex and the courthouse.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a pretty big job. I can. Get it in, if you like to take it, it's gonna be a.
Kind of depends on how much outside help you have to hire.
Right.
That makes a big
But
difference.
we're trying to not do that. It's gonna have a lot to do.
I just think if we set a budget, we need to kind of start sticking to it, because next year, I don't know what's gonna happen back to this Senate Bill 1. I mean, that's one of my concerns too. How much we're gonna have to
But here again,
squeeze.
you don't wanna spend just the 50 and get somebody that doesn't have the skills to do the job. We're just
Well,
in the position.
We're only asking 35 hours a week too. See, we're not asking 40 hours a week.
The,
Am I right there?
you are,
So they be on call though?
yeah, for fire issues, things
Then
like
he's
that.
gonna have a drive-on vehicle.
Potentially, yeah.
Correct.
That was gonna be one of the other topics of debate. We could make it a drive home vehicle, but only to and from work. It's not gonna be one of those vehicles that you can, hop in and run to the store, run out of county. We aren't permitting that.
This year would be fine, but moving forward, it's what worries me
Sure,
on
absolutely.
some of this stuff. I mean, you know where I'm at,
I do.
you know.
Deanna, I think you were gonna ask about salary study. And so it was not included, but Patty, you had called around to some other counties and compared. And I don't remember off the top of my head. I know we were lower than other counties, even at this salary.
It's like anything, it's a range, but 50, up in 80.
Yeah.
But again, the size of the county and
Mhm.
different duties.
Do you have a way to track what this maintenance person's gonna do on a daily basis to be able to do some sort of study this time next year to be able to ascertain the value that was derived from it? I think that's gonna be important to maybe Danny's point.
Yep.
That we know we're getting good value out of
Yeah, so I think we would be able to go and look at the number of times we had to have contractors come in. And then the number of times, the number of requests that he has had from different departments throughout the year. And we can have them keep track of that. The number of different jobs that they have done throughout the year to make sure that we can actually justify it going forward from, when you're looking at the 27 budget next year.
I wonder if there should almost be like a ticket system like IT uses.
Yeah, and that's something that we've discussed it with other departments, with other aspects of having like an email set up so that when they get email, it's also sent, excuse me, it's also sent to us in a different folder so that we can actually keep track of those things to make sure that they're getting done. That was one of the discussions that we had with some of the maintenance out of the highway department, is to have that like open email hotline, if you will, for requests for repair, roads or signage or obstructions in different roadways, so that they can email Todd and Tim, and then we can be basically CC'd on it.
Only as good as we reinforce it as somebody pulls them aside and says, hey, can you fix this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll always miss those. I mean, it's,
We gotta consider how Jake's gonna get the mower back and forth. He's
Yeah.
using his own truck right now.
Yeah.
I'm not for giving him a vehicle to drive home.
sure.
If if that vehicle stays at the annex with, and Jake can go get it, haul the mower back and forth, then that's gonna inconvenience him to. Probably be once a week, but.
Yeah, I mean,
so he's
that's,
got a vehicle.
I think when you look at the vehicle, it can be shared. Mowing will happen once a week, and so they can just make the plan that on whatever day it is during the week that Jake is going to mow, the vehicle stays at the annex. And that way, both parties can use it.
And I'd say Jake could mow on the weekend if possible.
Yeah.
Cause his job.
Any other discussion, questions?
looking at the salary part of it, look at was for sure in the beginning what all the job responsibilities were going to be for this person. Now we got to define what it is. But when you look at a salary for somebody that has the ability to handle plumbing, electrical, this guy's got IT experience, he can, you know, management skills. I mean, you find people that have those kind of skills, $50,000 is not very much salary. Those guys make, they make in the six figures sometimes. I mean, it's hard to locate that person, especially from what we're asking to do with 2 buildings. And it's a big responsibility just for the courthouse, because I'm sure that we've got a lot of stuff at the courthouse that needs tended to that has been neglected just because we've not had anybody keeping after. And I think also looking long term, we've had this discussion with a lot of different departments about preventive maintenance and keeping track of stuff that is going to need replaced over the next 5 years to put a plan together. Just having that is going to be a pretty good savings, because now somebody's keeping track of looking at all of our infrastructure and our mechanicals and saying, you know, we're going to need a budget for a new furnace at the annex in the next 5 years. Let's get it in the budget or start waiting, you know, that kind of stuff we've never had. But here again, you got to make sure that somebody's, you know, overseeing the activity that this guy's doing if we're going to pay him that money.
I think that'd be fair to our other employees too. I'm sure the guy's probably worth it, but well, do that, then you're gonna have other employees jump right in line as well.
Well, I
And
mean,
he
that's
did-
kind of why we did,
Yeah.
you got to kind of step away from that, because that's kind of why we did the salary study. We want the departments to have their own thing. Then we start looking at the other departments based on that one, and we've gone, we're back to where we started. So it's not, can't really, the way we're set up right now, everybody's independent. It's kind of how we wanted it. So have you got any idea where you get that $10,000? Have you looked at?
I think this year,
Yeah.
Well, it won't be this year, yeah.
next year.
Yeah, so I mean, as far as the salary, it's all there. We don't have any issue with paying for the salary because we're, you know, probably 37.5% through 2025, and we have $0 expended out of that line. And so then that's why I was looking at the FICA numbers, and we're already below on FICA. Like I said, before, PERC is actually already over budget. So something's gonna have to be done as far as an additional for PERC one way or the other. And let me pull that. The PERF portion for this one is $6,700.
I guess one good thing about it is we got the rest of the year to see how it's set up and see how it works. We're starting to see some benefit from it. So,
And it's hard for us to sit up here because we can go through the interview and know what. I know we can read all of it, but it's tough.
Any other questions or concerns? We need a motion.
Do you need a motion if there's no additional being requested?
Uh,
25?
There technically would
Paid
be,
60,000, so yeah.
yeah, because
You understand what I mean?
I do know.
He'll be paid from 60, won't be paid from 50.
yeah, even though there won't be an additional poll on the 60. Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
Kenny makes a motion to approve 60,000.
Okay.
Deanna seconds. Any other discussion? Okay. I need a hand vote on this one. Okay, all those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. Any opposed? Okay, motion passed.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Durbin.
Good morning, everybody. I just want to touch bases with a few things that have been happening in the health department. Really proud of my team. I'm going to talk about some things we've accomplished just since the first of the year. We do have a person who is now a certified pool inspector. That's a pretty rigorous course that you have to go through. They passed that. That allows them the opportunity to inspect pools in the county. My environmental team went to it's called the WET Show. That is the Water and Wastewater Equipment Treatment and Transport. It's held in Indianapolis. It's an international show. So they were able to learn a lot about different kinds of technologies on septic systems and upcoming technologies that may apply to Decatur County. It's a really good conference for them. They also are now members of the Indiana On-Site Wastewater Professionals Association, and they did attend their annual conference. Also, Alicia Nabi has been named the co-chair of the State Food Protection Committee. That's a big deal. 92 counties, 94 departments, and she's one of the chairs for the whole state. They also attended the on-site sewer winter meeting. You may or may not have heard, we set up a warming station back in February. I'm really proud of my team on that one, and not just our team, but the way the county came together. We had 23 individuals came into that warming center. Of those 23, we were able to get 15 of those help in it as far as getting them out of a homeless situation in some way, shape, or form. It may have been treatment. It may have been a true homeless shelter. It may have been somebody who was actually had employment but was living in a tent that is now in an apartment, but in various ways through One Voice and through the Washington Township, trustee and the health department, we were able to get help for all those people. And I am so proud of them for that, because a lot of it was volunteer work, and everybody really came together. We came together as a community, really. Moving right along from that gave us some experience when Skybird Manor had their little issue there. So we were able to get them evacuated and set up an emergency shelter for them at the First Christian Church. Again, great interagency working together there. We had EMA, we had the Red Cross, we had Washington Township trustee. One Voice was there, the health department was there. Just a great coordinated effort. Kudos to Brad for getting it all organized, and the Red Cross for taking over. We kind of started the shelter, and then once Red Cross got here, they took over. All right, let's see what else. We got Indiana vector control. So we do have, in order to work on mosquito control, we do have Alicia, again, she has both her core and her category 8 pesticide applicator license. Now what that means is that she can spray for mosquitoes for when we have them. Health departments are technically exempt from having to have the license, but we do like for them to have them because there are a lot of chemicals there that they handle that they need to know how to handle. So she's passed both of those classes.
So we can get a fairground spray.
We did spray this year, but yes,
Yeah.
We will continue to spray there, yes, and hopefully we're going to expand on some areas. And it's more important really to treat mosquitoes before it gets to the point where you need to spray. So we'll be doing some larvicide treatments this year. In addition to that, we're kind of limited to public areas where we can do that, but we'll be out doing monitoring very soon. As a matter of fact, we'll start doing some larva dips and find places where we need to start treating. We have been sponsoring the senior night at our senior movie at the radio station and Wolf Theaters, and we go out there and we do wellness checks for the seniors that come out there. Leslie Strait, one of our nurses, is now a CPR instructor, so we actually have 3 instructors there, and we do offer free CPR classes to anybody who wants them. So those are always available. If you or your business or your agency wants to take part of that, we'll be happy to do that. We do have to charge for the cards, but that's it. There's no charge for the class. We did host another blood drive. That's our 3rd blood drive. We have the vaccine for children has a pretty rigorous state inspection where they come in and make sure you're doing everything right. It's an audit inspection. We passed that. We went out to Daisy to do all of their staff TB tests. So again, saving money and time for other agencies so that their people don't have to come to us. We send our nurses out there. And we do that in a lot of ways. We also teamed with the library and the extension office on a program that's called Food is Medicine. And this is a program that teaches people how to eat more healthily. This is an 8-week program. And we had 12 participants, and they each go through every week and they learn new ways of cooking, new techniques, and new things, and nutrition facts. And then they walk away every week with a bag of groceries. And then at the end of that, they get to pick some kind of a prize, whether that's a crock pot or an air fryer, some way to help cook them in a healthy way. We came out and did, again, our wellness checks. So we did a blood pressure check, we did their pulse, we did their A1C, we did their blood sugar, we did their blood lipids before they started the program, and then we'll do it after the program is ended. We're in the middle of that right now, it is this month, and hopefully we can see some improvements. You know, it's a pretty short-term thing. We may not see improvements right away, but it's still the thought process behind using some foods to treat some of these chronic conditions before they have to be treated by medical professionals. Kind of what we're all about. Tony Kellums is our public health nurse. She started a tobacco coalition group in Decatur County. We've never had one before. We haven't had one since I've been in there. And now we do have one, so we're working on that. In addition to that, we did apply for another grant from for tobacco prevention and cessation. We provide CPR to the staff at Hickory Creek, and this is a big one here. We were chosen to be part of a maternal child health policy innovation program. And this is a mentorship and training program that was a competitive partnership offer. Only 10 local health departments in the country were awarded this, and we were one. So I'm really proud of my team for doing that as well. So maternal child health is one of the issues that we're really focusing on this year with our key performance indicators. Decatur County does not fare well in either one of those. That being said, on our key performance indicators, as far as our core services, Fairbanks School of Public Health and the Indiana Department of Health did a study where they took 4 of our core services and looked at those to see in the first 8 months of last year how much money it saved the state. I was able to take their same numbers and extrapolate those down to the county, and based on their figures, we saved the county by preventative efforts rather than actually sending people to the doctor, $1.8 million just in 8 months. Again, shows the effectiveness of preventative medicine over having to send people to treatment. It's much more expensive. And then, that being said, with all the good work we're doing, we are anticipating a $162,000 decrease in our HFI funds for next year. The Senate has pretty much, it's a done deal. I'm not just anticipating it, that's going to happen. In addition, we're anticipating a $125,000 decrease in our immunization grant fund. And then, of course, we're looking at property tax decrease. So that being said, it sounds pretty dire, but our department will be fine. We have adequate funds. We have some additional grants we're going to apply for, and we will be fine. We're not going to come to the county next year and ask for additional. So I'm not going to be standing here next year and say, I need this much. We're going to continue the services we can. What may get cut is some of the extras that we do, but we will continue to do all of the services that we offer based on my projections for where we're going to be. I'm confident when I say it. The one change also in the HFI funding is in the last funding, it was 60% preventative, 40% regulatory. It will be 90% preventative, 10% regulatory. I honestly think that's good money. I think that makes sense. Regulatory is pretty well funded. That would be the second. Tattoos, that kind of thing. Whereas I think preventative is where we all save money as taxpayers. I think that's how we can do it. And then lastly, with all of those accomplishments being said, the board did approve the Board of Health last Monday, the promotion of Alicia Nabi and Amanda Rich to Environmental Health Manager and Population Health Manager, respectively. And they did approve that position, which has, using the salary study, the lowest in their range would be $61,343.92, and I'm paying for that at grant money. Just looking for You're okay on all that?
I have a question.
Yeah.
The state's cutting funding because they said they're changing your KPIs.
Yeah, so 2 KPIs are actually getting changed as well. Believe it or not, smoking cessation and, emergency preparedness.
How long does it look like these grants gonna stick around? Got any idea?
This will be another 2-year round.
Be another 2-year round?
Yeah, at this level, beyond that, I can't say for sure.
It seems to
If
be,
they did approve it for 2 more years.
yeah, it seems to be a good indicator that they've at least left it at the level that they're going to do and not cut it even more in light of all the other cuts that they.
Yeah, that's very true.
Anyone else have any questions for Sean? Concerns?
They've been busy.
That's not even all, Andy. It's great. I just have the best team. They work so hard, do a lot of good programming. Pardon?
Thanks for doing what you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, sir. Thanks, Sean. Good. Before we move on to transfer, other topics, Sheriff, is just reading material for us, or you want to say anything about it?
That's last year's year review. I apologize, it's a little less this year, at least it's done. But that's just for your review, nothing there to really act on. While I'm up here, a little update on our crisis intervention team. CIT, you're all aware, the foundation at the $5 million living endowment fund. This CIT, you really hit the ground running the first of the year. Mike Eggleston, who was our jail commander, was the principal architect of drafting that grant proposal. So he is no longer our jail commander. He is now the CIT coordinator. And we also hired a full-time licensed clinical social worker, Desiree Moore. That's a really big asset for us to have in jail. She's in the jail 40 hours a week, also responding to calls. And so now yesterday, we were pleased to swear in 2 more of our field people, 2 people that are going to be actually feet on the ground. We swore in John Bundick from Columbus and Tiffany McFarland here in Greensburg. We believe they are truly going to be big assets to this as well. So since we really hit the ground running on February 2nd, we've already responded to 40 calls. So we're making an impact already. We're not really known yet. So I really think this is going to have a big impact. In fact, as I left, come over here this morning, we were dealing with somebody in jail who recently came in. Yeah, a crime was committed, but it was committed because of her mental illness. So we're working on finding her a bed this morning as we get her out of the jail because, again, this is a mental health issue more than it's a criminal. That's the things that guys are bringing to our table. Our new field officers, field officers, we're in training this week. They get next week off as far as training, and the following week they're going to be training again. They're going to be special deputies. They're going to have limited police powers, which according to law, I can lay out what those limits are. So they are going to be limited in their police powers. But they will have police powers to act should they need to. So that's just kind of an update. We had a great crowd there yesterday. We had almost 50 people there just swearing in, which pleased me, which also shows great support for our people. They're taking the job home, which they're going to need the support at home as well. So just as an update, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
The gal is a social worker. She's part of this team.
She is,
Yeah.
and she's responding outside the jail on a couple calls as well.
So you've got 2 officers, her and then Mike.
Correct.
How many, is that gonna be more people?
Well, it's written for actually 4 people on the ground. I'm only going to hire 2 for now. I'm going to see what our numbers are,
Okay.
see how we progress, see if we, play it safe right now. See what those numbers are.
Being funded by that.
Correct, it is a $5 million. And again, we anticipate that lasting 5-6 years.
Is the city on board with what you're doing? on everything?
At the last Board of Works City Council meeting, they did sign a memorandum of understanding. I'm going to be presenting that to the commissioners for their review for the next meeting next month. So, yeah, they are on board.
And if I understand it right, all the first responders that are want to or can come to training also. And is it going to be mandatory for all the deputies to go through that training?
It's mandatory for all of my staff, both
Yeah.
jail and patrol. In fact, that's one part of what it needs to be, it's a 40 hour fast going on needs to be. It's gonna be mandatory for everybody in our department. And it's open to the PD, fire departments, everyone.
I just want to make a comment, the detective, what's her name?
Ellie Sullivan.
Ellie Sullivan. We had a theft golf course this winter where they stole 12 golf carts and she was able to locate and return all the carts that were stolen. So kudos to the sheriff's department for that.
She does an outstanding job. Yes, she does.
I think it's something we needed for a long time, what you got.
Well,
I really do.
it's baby steps. We're only 2.5 years into this, we got more to do. But, I'm excited about what's going on.
Jail is no place for mental health.
It's not, it's really not.
It needs to be.
Yeah.
Someplace else. I'm just glad this is going on.
Right.
Anybody else have anything?
Thank you.
Thanks, Sheriff. Let's get on to the transfers here. I think most of these are just quarterly transfers, normal. Am I looking at that right? Our normal quarterly transfers on insurance and 911. And the county's portion of IT. Do I have any questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
So moved.
That Rick? Rick made the motion, Ernie second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay. I added this on here, economic development payment ordinance. Brian, I emailed everybody a copy of what Brian and his AI came up with. And something we need to get ahead of.
Yeah, if you guys recall, we had a big battery energy storage project with part of that economic development resident for the payment of the state's community impact payments. Talking and as that becomes more of a standard, I should say, in the economic development agreements for particularly energy related projects, we thought it'd be a good idea to have a structure set up within the county, designating where those funds go, who oversees those funds, what sort of reporting there are, and similar to like a TIP district, so much a formal organization or anything, but as far as the oversight of those funds, making sure that there's a structure in place so the general public knows, okay, like when a company pays these to the county, where does that money go and who oversees that? These will be fees paid, not general taxes or anything like that. So through the magic of AI, because we've been asking, I've been looking for setups in other communities for be it batteries, wind, solar, whatever, or other projects that utilize community impact fees or fee structure rather than taxes. We didn't find too many resolutions, ordinances in place. So I took a shot in the dark, drew up AI as a template starting point that we can then adjust it to make our own. I think that's what Dan probably sent out to everybody. And this is just the start of a conversation. Obviously, we need to go through legal counsel and everything like that, but that's the kind of purpose behind what Danny's trying to do here with the resolution and ordinance.
Just trying to get ahead of the program a bit. I think we'll probably have to draw something up. We need you want a resolution or an ordinance? I think there were two of them on there. One was a resolution.
Yeah, I did format for both of them. That might be a cool question.
Yeah, I can ask Chris about it, but it will be, the money will be put in a separate account, which will be, we're calling it a community impact fee, because it says economic development fee in Brian's.
Yeah.
I want to know what Brian's going to be. He kind of switched it to community impact fee. So if it's all right, I'll talk to Chris and show him in templates, see where we need to be and try to have something drawn up and approved. And
It's the first payment from that.
it probably won't be 27 till we get the first payment, but just gives us something ahead of the program to where I was set up and ready to go.
I agree with all that, but I would like to see it set to where we just don't, I don't want to read where it goes into this one account. I'd like to have the council be able to establish the accounts they need to establish based on the project. Because some of the project, you know, if we set up an ordinance that says that all those type of projects would go into this account, I would rather, and that's okay, but I'd like the council to have the flexibility. If we want to separate that money for something specific, we'd be able to do that.
Well, we can't budget, we can budget it out of there.
Yeah.
They kind of suggested it goes into one account.
What, just to keep it separate from everything else?
If the ordinance says it goes into this specific account, then that's where you have,
And then the council has to.
Take it out.
the council has full control of how to spend all that, but I'd like to have the ability, if we want to separate those incomes, a couple different accounts, the ability to do that. So that's all I, just make sure that that flexibility is put in there.
And again, this is just the start.
Yeah,
It's what we got to start.
it looks like, basically, it doesn't look pretty good.
I mean, I thought he done a great job.
I like that. Exactly.
Yeah, so as you go forward, and I'll continue trying to reach out to other communities Connie Nager out of Emily from Stark County up north. And they had some ideas, but we'll try to take best practices from other places and forward into this, make sure it works for us.
It's because hopefully down the road, there's one at St. Paul too, eventually.
Okay.
I hope potential one in. And 'cause I think after the Senate bill deal goes through and everything, we might need some extra income.
There's still a lot of things.
It could be. Okay,
Very good. Thank you, Brian.
thank you a lot, Brian. Appreciate it. Your boss, everything? Todd, you got anything for us?
Danny, I
Yeah, go ahead, Rick.
question for Doug real quick on the comprehensive plan. You emailed me back yesterday saying that the survey is going to go out, survey month.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that the only way that's going to get distributed?
yeah, through the Southeastern Indiana Regional Planning Commission, they'll be distributing it, and that's how they're gonna, but I can double check if there's any other distribution.
So do I need to know to access, what would I need to do to access that?
Well, they'll send it to you. So, yeah, they'll send it to you via email.
And then what percentage of our county would be, have the opportunity to get that?
Yeah, I'll have to check on this
I think that'd be
with,
something to look at. So if
Yeah.
there is another opportunity to distribute that
sure.
for those that may not have email
Could it be put
access
on
and
our-
things like
Often
that.
put on our county?
Yeah, often they promote it on the website, you
Can
try
I-
to link up
Yeah.
and or.
Put it on Facebook. And,
Yeah.
Can it be put on the county website?
Yeah, search the hard copies, sometimes at the library.
yeah, we could set up.
So we address that.
Sure.
That everybody in the county, no one in the county can say, well, I
I didn't get it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you are, but still, yeah.
All you can do.
Oh, yeah, we got an additional, I'm sorry. We've got an additional here. Oh, we approved this last month.
I think we
Was it needing to
did.
be advertised, is that the reason we approved it again? Because it wasn't advertised, okay. It's $5,145 to pay Melissa Scholl, the attorney for the Decatur County Board of Zoning Appeals and Area Plan. This comes out at $90,000 that
It gets paid by Kobe, yeah.
is. Okay.
So we've already received the funds.
Well, this just needs to be put in your back in your line,
Right.
correct?
One
We
thing,
voted on this last.
But,
Yeah.
well, yeah, it wasn't advertised, so we have to go through it.
I have one thing I want to say on this, and that's that when it goes into the minutes, can you be specific about what that money's in there for, that it's not then having our attorney do their work and we're paying for it? Because I had somebody call and said we were taking money from the solar people, and but if you be specific on the minutes, that says that that was to pay our expense, our side of the legal fees, that doesn't go on to the taxpayer.
Mhm. Okay,
If you'll spell that out, I would be appreciative of that. We understand what it is, but the way the minutes read,
Yeah, it
it just looked like we just took in money from Korea and
Okay. I probably don't understand that because it sure looks to me like it's chicken in the hen house money.
well, so what it is, I mean, we have
Or
stuff that,
fox in the hen house.
there's documents and stuff that we have to have our attorney take care of on our side. We have to pay that. So instead of us taking the taxpayer dollars and paying it, Cobria says, we'll help offset that cost that you're gonna have to incur by us trying to get the solar down. So, and
Has there ever been any other examples of any of that?
RWE did the same thing. RWE did that. They,
Other than solar?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Battery
We had
storage.
agreements actually with the electric power folks to take care, because again, these projects come in, we have to do for the economic development agreements, for impacts, that kind of thing. We have to hire firms like Mars and Thornburg to draft up the drafts, or Baker Tilly to do the economic assessment. And that costs the county. We have agreements in place prior to, in many cases prior, sometimes during, to say, you will cover this amount of work done on behalf of the county. Just so, again, to Kenny's point, because even prospective businesses coming in wind up costing the county money, and they can walk away, and then we don't get covered.
Yeah.
So that's a way for us to make sure that the taxpayers are made whole by.
So battery storage did similar.
I think we're long.
Honda may have done similar back in 2008.
I hope so. I don't know that, but I hope so. And this will be moving forward. Is going to be the process of having what's called an engagement agreement that they would suffice, and many companies are fine with that. They understand.
I know that's somewhere in there.
Yeah. So that's not an uncommon.
Battery storage, paid Rick Hall, paid Barnes and Thornburg, paid all that for us.
And it's easily to have that perception that they're paying our bills for us, trying to get foot in the door. Right. That's what I'm trying to,
Well, on the surface, that's what it
That's
appears to be
exactly
as that.
and that's what I'm saying. If we have that recorded in the minutes, that's how it works, because it's been going on. That's not uncommon to have that happen, because you've got companies come in, it can be a big expense on our side just to cover our salaries.
Sure.
And if they're willing to take care of that, then I would rather do that than have taxpayers foot that bill, because then, we pay that bill and then it doesn't get approved. All that money that we just paid for legal fees is gone. So, but it needs to be stated in the minutes specifically that that's what's going on. So when people come to us and say, why did you take in money from the solar people? Well, we did. Look at the minutes.
Yeah, and that explanation that you just provided and Brian has provided needs to be disseminated out to the public, because I don't think it has been very.
You get asked, you have that answer why it's that way. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're thinking about it.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else have anything? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'm gonna make that motion.
Bill makes a motion,
Second.
Kenny seconds. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
So you got a different outcome on that.
Sometimes it just takes a little bit.
Education pays off.
Okay, we have one more for crisis intervention team. Total, that was $331,933.45. Personal services, $181,088.18 for capital outlays, and for a total of $513,021.63.
So our grant money,
Grant money. Okay, William Dowd, coming back to it.
so the way I talked with Tammy Winning, and the way we're setting it up is, it's gonna be kind of like a reimbursement. So whatever gets spent in the first quarter. So this is the money that was spent in the first quarter.
okay.
I send all the expenditures, she sends a check. This way the money can sit and earning interest and the account is still, so we're not taking out big ones.
So it's basically a wash from the foundation
Every quarter. is
Every
how we're
quarter.
going to do it.
Okay.
Last quarter, the fourth quarter, we're going to do it to keep it to end the year on a positive. So we'll do it at the last meeting.
Okay.
And just further also, any purchases being made, foundations approving those purchases as well.
And that's a big deal, I think, from the foundation point of view, that this $5 million in total, part of that remaining in the foundation will earn income from a dividend point of view or interest point of view. So to stretch it out 6, 7 years, as you stated, some of that interest income might come in, will likely come in.
Does that interest income go into the back end of that grant?
Yes, I believe so.
It goes back in, it just keeps going into that account.
There is a conversation about foundation being able to recoup some of its expenditures from that grant. So that'll be a little bit of that, but
Yeah.
the interest will far outweigh.
Yeah, they gotta cover their admin.
Okay, did everybody get that? I entertain a motion to approve. Ashley makes a motion to approve. Deanna seconds. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I think that might just about cover everything I've got on the agenda. Unless anybody else has anything else for us.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll say next motion on adjourn, Kenny second, Ernie seconds. Any discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed to that?